I thought of something the other day after I filmed the video where I was talking to Marlene. I don't know, you need like another adjective in the world the way it is today when you're not actually talking to somebody. Published a video at my blog that I addressed to her, right? Put her name on it, was talking about her situation. It's hard to deal with people who are so obsessed with frivolous things, though. It's kind of tough. It's very frustrating. You know, she just doesn't seem to be able to see past however annoyed she is with me. She's probably getting all kinds of support from other people who have no idea how painful and difficult my life really is. So I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me. You know, all I'm saying is, yes, in fact, I am justified in saying my life is just too hard. It's just too hard, and I'm sorry when that inconveniences other people, but it really is just too hard. You know, it's too hard. You're talking about a situation where, you know, it's a relationship that you're in. You seem to be financially stable, or at least able to take care of yourself. I'm sure he's financially stable, or at least able to take care of himself. And I am destitute to the point of it being like life-threatening every day, right? So yeah, I think you can deal with it. You can deal with it. And I'm not trying to be insensitive or say that all of my behavior has been the right behavior, because it hasn't. It really hasn't. But you know, to see you just because you feel like it, being really nasty online is really annoying. You know, and makes me less sympathetic and makes me care less about whether or not, you know, you have a happy love life, because obviously I can't have a happy love life at all. And I do try to be ethical. I screw up sometimes, but I try to fix it when I make a mistake. And there are so many just like deliberately horrible things that people have done to me that they couldn't even care less about, you know, while they're living in total material comfort and have all the friends they ever wanted, you know, and everything else in their lives. That, yeah, I mean, my sympathy is somewhat limited. And maybe that, I'm sorry that like grates on your nerves in some way, but it seems like maybe, you know, I don't know. I don't know what her story is. I don't know what she's lived through in the past. You know, maybe she has had some like desperately sad childhood or desperately sad adolescence or some other time in her life when things were like incredibly painful. But I don't so much get that impression. I guess I don't. But you know, you never know. You never know from appearances what somebody's like. And what I was thinking of when I was talking about how some of the similarities between her fiance and me. After I filmed that video, 997CX9, he's staring at me right out the window. You know, God, that guy had to be in his 50s. You know, that guy did not have a single hair on his head that was not gray. You know, not that it matters. Not that it matters, just that he should know better. You know? What I thought it was something I didn't want to say right away because it seemed almost like it was boasting in a way. People do that sometimes. You know, they kind of boast about how tough their life has been. I don't really, would be very happy to have my life get like much better. Very happy to have that happen. But what I was thinking of was, you know, just feel fortunate that, you know, you don't from personal experience. Just feel fortunate that you don't know from personal experience some of the things that I know that help me to understand him better than you do sometimes. It's not like you can't understand him, you know, if you start thinking about, if you think about him maybe in another way than you're used to, or than you're used to thinking about people. But just, you know, just be glad that that it's not from personal experience that you have those times. You know, there have been times obviously when I've just understood him better than you have. But but I mean, what do you think love is? Love does not mean that every single second that you spend with somebody is totally perfect, or that you know every single thing about the person. I mean, part of what it means to get married to somebody is that you spend the rest of your life getting to know them, right? And there's always going to be people out there who have something you don't have, and there's always going to be people that you have something that they don't, you know. And that's the point about getting married to somebody. It doesn't mean you could never get married to somebody else, or that there's not something about somebody else that, you know, is somehow important, you know. But you could just be like, all right, well, it's you know, at least somebody said something, you know. But the thing is too, it's not even just a question of like I had so many painful things happen to me and so blah blah blah. It's also a question of being in a position to observe other people going through so many things, right? Because that's really what it was. I mean, I don't have a drug problem. I was not. There were other problems that he seems that he had that I did not have. But what did happen to me was I was in the hospital a lot, you know, from a very young age, and I saw people just kind of really from a young age, you know. I was not quite 18 when I was in the hospital for the first time, and I saw people without any of the graces that, you know, life usually gives to people, just in their bare essence of themselves as people, very lonely, very screwed up, I saw what happens to people after years of drug addiction. I saw what happens to people after years of alcohol abuse. I saw what happens to people after all sorts of things. I saw people in all stages of their lives. There did not at that time tend to be a lot of younger people in the hospital. It was usually, you know, I was certainly the youngest person in the hospital the first time I was there, and usually there was not more than one or maybe at the most two other people who were anywhere near my age anytime I was in the hospital. I think it's changing a little bit. It seems like a lot of people are in the hospital young now, even little kids, which is really sad. But yeah, I mean, some of it was just, a lot of it is just observation of what other people have gone through, you know, and understanding that a lot of things that are portrayed as being glamorous are not at all, and do not lead to glamorous things. You know, here's the thing. This is it's funny but also sad. You know, as much as the conglomerate has said about my teeth, you know, you have no idea. You know, in terms of like, I would imagine, although nobody says anything about it, I would imagine that like my teeth are actually sort of a source of some envy for many of the people that I live with all the time. You know, homeless people who, through poverty and or drug abuse, many of them, or domestic violence, have, you know, they do not have movie star teeth, we'll put it that way.